Retribution assembly. Step one was probably separating the two halves of the hilt. Okay. Next is going to be to put this first ring part on. There's a magnetic door here, which you can use the included flathead screwdriver. And you're just going to stick it in that little slot, pry this guy up, and it's just magnetically held on there. Super cool. Next is this ring. We'll unscrew, revealing 4 very, very small Allen key set screws, in which you use your very, very small Allen key to back out those set screws, which I've already done because it would take me all day to show you. And that separates this. See the little dimples where they were sitting in? That's so you can basically clock it and align it correctly later when you put it in. We need to get to the back of these holes, which can only be done by separating this. Why do we need the back of these holes? Well, that is where the first section of the ring is going to bolt on. So through trial and error, I have found the best way to do this is get yourself a pair of needle nose and hold this bolt sideways so that you can slide it in here and drop it in the hole. And you can do the same thing with this one. Because that one's either further back than the first. And these actually might not be long enough for me to get in there. Just long enough. Success. Okay. Now I would suggest keeping them there with your finger. And this is where the fun begins. So first of all, make sure you are putting this on the right way. That is the emitter, and the ring does not curve out over the emitter. The ring curves in this way. So if you can get your finger held in there enough that you're not letting them go back in, you're trying to thread it from here. Okay, just get the first few threads started there. Kick this one down. Get the first few threads started there. Okay, so because we're on the first part, this is actually easier than part 2 because look, we got a trap door on the other side too. So you just get that guy off, and now you can just go straight through to this bolt with the Allen key, and with great patience. I'm holding it sideways for the camera, but I would use gravity here to help me out a little more. Like once I get this going here, I'll just try to keep it so you can see, and we tighten these all the way down, and there you go. It's aluminum, so obviously don't over tighten this stuff. Just snug it nicely. It's not going to go anywhere. And there's that. So the first one can easily attach. The second part, when you're coming in here, then you're going to be up against turning this a little bit at a time each time. So it's going to take some patience, but that's how you get that part in. For this video, I'm going to leave that for later. I'm going to put our sweet little caps back on there instead. Reassembling these. You got to keep in mind that there's going to be a CoverTech screw, and this is the hole for the CoverTech screw, which we will end up sticking in here later. Before you do this, put your CoverTech in. Don't forget to put your CoverTech in first. But for right now, you got to keep in mind that you want it opposite the ring, because then hanging off your belt, this would be sticking off your body. So you want CoverTech ring 90 degrees to the actual hilt rings. So you're going to get that lined up like that. And just start snugging these down again. This is very dainty screw. You will bend the wrench and strip the screw if you are too harsh on this. So it doesn't take a lot. Just want to get them snug. And don't strip your screw and don't bend your wrench. Now this one, of course, we got to go with the short end of the stick so we can get underneath the ring here. So patience, Padawan. This is what requires patience. Probably back these out. I think four half turns, maybe 2 full turns. If you pull them out further, you probably drop them and lose them. I would not suggest that. So just take them out just enough that you can slide that off. And then when you tighten them up, just enough so they're snug and you don't strip your wrench. There should be no play between the emitter and the body when they're snug. It's nice. And this ring will help with that. But not much. The main objective is to get those snug down. So there we go. I feel no play. Keep your alignment straight, right? Switches are over here. So the switches are going to be underneath this other ring if you're doing a 2-ring thing. But the key is that it's got to line up so your cover tech is not. So anyway, align this like this and like this. Make sure your switches are right. So this is the 90 degrees we want. We're going with this set screw situation now. I will speed this up because I will save you the agony. All right, now it is time to connect that. Before I do that, I am going to go ahead and apply some plumber's grease, clear, odorless, nothing. All it does is help keep that chatter and that raw feel of screwing it together. Just a dab, couple of dabs, dab, dab, dab. That will spread out through these threads nicely. At first, might still chatter a little bit, but yeah, that's actually pretty good. So when these two are straight down, that's where it's stopping. So that's great. So that's straight. This is in alignment. Here's what I think is the best way to go about getting the final piece of the ring in. Just stick one side in, right? And then back it out. Line up the other side, barely any pressure, but while pushing down on this, you're going to pull out on this just enough to spread it. It's very easy to go in, and that's how you'll take it out too. You're going to just pry it apart pretty much. That's not going anywhere. That's nicely magnetically on there based on my jiggle test, as you just saw. So lastly, you've got the cover tech. The bottom piece has this shaped cut out on it, and you basically got to put that little triangle dip in this little triangle dip here so that it sits flush. So you line that up nicely and you'll see it sits flush, and you need the countersunk hole to be facing up. So you stick your bolt in there and look how nice. And that goes in here. You can get in there and put it on. More likely, I should have done that before I reassembled it together. Most likely, 100% positively, should put that on before I put that other thing together. But here we are, human beings making mistakes. So it ain't nice till you do it twice, sometimes thrice. So before you do this, put your cover tech in. Don't forget to put your cover tech in first. Oy. And there you have it. That is Retribution ring assembly. And if you had the other one, it would go here. There you go.